For millennia, people have attributed strange behaviors to the moon, our nearest celestial neighbor. Some of these stories are rooted in truth, others are just myths. The challenge is to disentangle the facts from the fiction. It is certainly true to say that the moon, which is formed about 4.5 billion years ago, has probably been orbiting the Earth for longer than life has existed and has been an influence for the duration of evolutionary time. The moon has three profound influences on life on Earth: time, light, and tide. Two of these, light and tide, are also partly influenced by the sun. Moonlight is, after all, reflected sunlight, and some tides are the result of gravitation pull of the moon and sun acting together. For many animals, particularly birds, the moon is essential to migration and navigation. Others time their reproduction to coincide with the specific phases of the lunar cycle. And on a more practical level, nocturnal animals can hunt or forage more easily under the light of the moon. Although venturing out on moonlight nights also comes with the risk of being hunted yourself. From this video, we are going to bring you 3 ways the moon affects wildlife. Number 1. Wildlife and tides. Perhaps the most tangible effect of the moon on Earth is the part it plays in the generation of tides. The daily tides are primarily caused by the moon, and these vary hugely around the world. Parts of the UK witness some of the largest tidal ranges, up to 15 meters in the Swan estuary, whereas in the Baltic the tidal range is only a few centimeters. Spring and neap tides are caused by the moon and sun in tandem. Animals and plants that live in the coastal habitats, especially in places with high tidal ranges, have adapted to live in some of the most variable and extreme places on Earth. Nearly everyone will have seen limpets attached to rocky and seashore habitats. These remarkable mollusks have adapted to live in hostile intertidal environments, protected by their hard cap-like shells. They scrape food from the rock surface with a tongue-like structure called a radula, which is covered in hundreds of teeth. These were recently shown to be made of the strongest biological material ever tested, 5 times stronger than spider silk and stronger even than man-made materials like Kevlar. Number 2. Wildlife and moonlight. Sunlight passing through the atmosphere creates patterns of polarized light as it scatters off atmospherical particles. The human eye can detect polarized light, but it is not an important element of our vision. However, the eyes of animals can detect the angle at which light is reflected and polarized and use this to navigate. The sun is primary source of light during the day, and the polarization pattern it forms is 100 million times brighter than that of the light reflected by the moon. But nocturnal animals can use moonlight just as effectively as their diurnal relatives. At night, the moon overwhelms all other sources of natural light and is used by nocturnal navigators as an orientation cue. Sandhoppers, tiny crustaceans that live buried in sandy beaches, use both the sun and the moon to navigate. They can tell the difference between sunlight and moonlight, and so are able to move in the right direction between the sea and the shore regardless of the time of day. A species of African dung beetle, Scarabeus ambitianus, uses moonlight to collect dung efficiently. Once the beetle has located a fresh heap of dung, its main objective is to roll a ball of it away as quickly as possible to the safety of a burrow. to avoid competition over other beetles and potential predators. Number 3. Wildlife and phases of the moon. The moon is a clock. The lunar day, the time taken for the moon to complete one rotation of its axis, is the same time taken for it to complete one orbit of the Earth. We are just beginning to research and understand the ways in which biology is linked to circulunar clocks, timers linked to the phases of the moon rather than circadian clocks linked to a 24-hour day. And the following examples all give a fascinating insight into the unique relations between the moon, earth and time. The coral's time to spawning according to several factors, including water, temperature, salinity and food availability. But the lunar cycle is the trigger, and the spawning always occurs between October and December, just after the full moon. Invertebrates such as marine annelid worm, Platinaris dumirili, can regulate their reproduction cycle according to the phases of the moon with amazing precision. These worms live in the seabed and have a lifespan of about 7 months. Under the full moon, the sex cells in adult worms mature, then exactly 14 days later, under the new moon, and 4 hours after sunset, they float to the surface and synchronously release eggs and sperm. After spawning, the worms die, and a new generation begin to grow in the seabed. As these examples show, the moon affects numerous animals and plant behaviors in fascinating ways. But there is still a we do not fully understand. It is often difficult to research species that live in remote places or are only active at night, and light pollution caused by cities' human activities can be hugely disruptive to the natural rhythms of life under the moon. This means that our knowledge is constantly evolving as our understanding of the unique relationship between the Earth and the moon continues to grow.